Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Hey guys, what's up? Been getting a lot of love lately. Thank you guys so much. All of you who've subscribed, thank you so much. Like I've said before, I would keep doing these videos even if I didn't get any more subscribers. Of course, I want more of you guys in here. But glad to add more people to the table. And we are doing, I believe this was suggested by two people. It was suggested by someone, and so we were getting into it, a History Matters video. If you see my channel, then you know how highly I think of History Matters. Why did Sweden support the Viet Cong? I had no idea Sweden was involved in Vietnam, in the Vietnam War whatsoever, let alone supported the Viet Cong. Come on, Sweden. No, wasn't the United States America's proudest moment. Was not. So let's learn about it. Let's do it.
When most
Original
people
video
think
down at the top of the description below. Check them out.
when most people think of the Viet Cong and their allies, Sweden doesn't often make the list. Yet throughout the Vietnam War, Sweden was a supporter of theirs and harshly critical of the United States,
Did not know
which
that.
raises the question, why? Why did Sweden side with the Viet Cong? So, during the Cold War, Sweden aimed for a policy of non-alliance in peace, neutrality in war. That is, they weren't picking sides. However, throughout most of this period, it was pretty clear that Sweden lent much more towards the NATO camp than that of the Warsaw Pact. Yet, there were many issues in which Sweden was consistent in its criticism of the USA and the West, and one such issue was the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War had two phases. The first was when France, the colonial overlord of this area called French Indochina, fought to quell a rebellion against its rule. Now, at first, the USA wasn't all too fussed about this since it had no desire to preserve old European empires, but with Vietnam, there was an issue. Because in peace talks, it was divided into two states, and North Vietnam was under the control of communists and they wanted the South too. And as such, it was intervention time. Because domino theory dictated that all instances of a potential communist government must be stopped lest the entire world fall to it. So in the mid-1960s, Sweden pushed itself as an international mediator and spent 3 years trying to get the USA and North Vietnam to make peace. This effort came to an abrupt stop in 1968 when American President Lyndon B. Johnson told Sweden to mind its own business. The next year, Olof Palme was elected as Swedish Prime Minister and his attitude towards the Vietnam War was much more hostile. You should know that he was a firm critic of many foreign nations at this point, so the USA wasn't being specifically targeted. However, he was extremely public with his critiques, such as when in 1972 he compared the US bombing campaigns in Vietnam to Germany's use of concentration camps in World War II. And in response, the United States promptly broke off diplomatic relations with Sweden until the next year. So Sweden's support for North Vietnam and the Viet Cong was because Palme and the rest of the Swedish government saw US intervention as ignoring the will of the people there, thus making it an act of imperialism.
Kind of true. Might be an unpopular opinion, but kind of, in hindsight, that's kind of not false. Obviously, it was to stop the spread of communism, but you can say that you're for freedom and fair elections all you want, but if in the end it's, yeah, we want to set up a government, but if you choose to be communist, then that's a problem. Then you're not really for freedom and democracy, are you? So, complicated subject, not America's finest hour.
Now, Palme wasn't a communist or anything and was mostly driven by a fierce anti-war ideology. These criticisms ultimately changed nothing, and so Palme opted to give direct aid to the Viet Cong. Now, obviously, this didn't include sending a bunch of Swedish soldiers to Vietnam in order to fight the Americans or anything. What Sweden did was skirt as close to helping as they could without drawing the wrath of NATO. And the first thing that Palme did was
Can we just appreciate just the simple drawings of History Matters? Like, there's the eyes, like, it's so great. Great channel.
As close to help of Swedish soldiers to Vietnam in order to fight the Americans or anything. What Sweden did was skirt as close to helping as they could without drawing the wrath of NATO. And the first thing that Palme did was to give asylum to American draft dodgers. The second thing Sweden did was to send medical supplies to Vietnam along with doctors to train Viet Cong medics. Outside of the government, many Swedes were fiercely pro-Viet Cong, and there was even an attempt by members of the public to send money to North Vietnam to acquire weapons. In the end, Sweden's support for the Viet Cong was more focused on its opposition to America's war against it. Whilst the government did recognize North Vietnam as...
I didn't think it would be, even after reading the title and realizing they were supporting them, I didn't think it would be this much. Obviously, they're not sending troops or being that, but I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty obviously aimed at not necessarily taking off just America, but giving off that anti-imperialist kind of idea.
an independent country, send it medical supplies and give asylum to American draft dodgers, this was done from a position of pacifism. Sweden supported the Viet Cong against the United States because it would have supported anyone in the same situation against any other great power, which was a position that Sweden would hold many more times throughout the Cold War. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Awesome video. I'm hesitant to say one of my favorite. I was about to because I've reacted to quite a bit and I love them all, but up there for sure. Great recommendation, guys. Thank you guys for all the support, all the likes, subscribes, subscriptions, comments, all that. Love it. Very happy about that. And let me know in the comments if you want me to check out anything else history related. Let me know. I'm going to continue the Alexander the Great stuff. And I think I had one other thing. I'll think of it and I'll put it up there. Click that bell icon to see when my next video comes out. And it's cool, by the way, just to see that Sweden, like, they were just kind of anti-anyone. America was the bad guy at the time, but in hindsight, not a bad choice, I guess. See you guys next time.
And thank you for watching.